I started neck deep with the guys and did that for like 8 years or whatever. And I left the band at the end of our third album cycle. It's funny that the last thing I ever intended to do was start another band. Like, it was like I left that to not do that again. Then we started writing music. We had a few songs. It was, oh, fucking hell, this is a band, isn't it? You look at the pop, I was like, what's the singer's the most important one? You take the singer off of it, you could put 10 of them together and you wouldn't be able to tell me which band's song it is. It's the same thing. It's great. You know, when like a guy gets married and he never goes out anymore and he's like older, and then like once every 5 years, like him and his friends like go to Vegas or something. I feel like it's almost like that. It's like all these bands are like trying to like relive their Warped Tour youth again, and everyone's so excited about it. It's like, oh my god, we're going back! Like, we're going back to school. This is gonna be great.
Welcome to the Emo Social Club podcast. I am Brian. This is the podcast about music, news, interviews with bands, interviews with Warped Tour bands, interviews with bands from all over the world. And today we have Phil of World's First Cinema. That satisfies our world view of the bands of music. Well, that
yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, I was saying to you before we started recording, I've been listening to the music, and I'll say one thing: I'm very excited for there to be a record coming out, because what happens is now I go on streaming services and I'm like, okay, well, let me listen to like an album or a package of music, right? And so when I was looking you up, it was like a lot of singles, and I know that you've had some very popular singles online, but I'm like, okay, I want to listen to like all of this and like in a, you know, not a playlist, but like in a package.
I totally get it, man. I mean, especially I think in like alternative music, like I think bands tend to think in those terms a little more than like pop maybe does at times, which is great. And we've always thought in that way. Like we've always released things in EPs. The fucking stupid thing is that what would have been our second EP never got wrapped into an EP for a bunch of fucking stupid political reasons, and it's just a bunch of singles. So they actually were in an order and a story, but they don't present that way on Spotify. But I mean, it's another battle for another day. You know what I mean?
I agree, and I think it's definitely more an issue with the platform than it is with the music. Because I was like listening to the music, and I'm like, I feel like that there's something here. There's connection between all of these things. And you have I mean, obviously cinema's in the title of your band name, but it is very cinematic. It feels very story. I know you relate a lot back to like Panic at the Disco and things like that feel more like substantial.
It's definitely inspired by that stuff, you know, and like you're saying, telling the stories, like our EPs have very different, you know, perspectives and sort of ideas behind. Like the first one was way more cinematic and sync related rituals. That's where we started and what we were originally going to do. And then the second one that never got wrapped really was this cohesive record, and I still think it was really cool. You know, it was like Young Beast, Make Me a Monster, Night Child, all those songs. They're all the dark, riffy, all spooky, horror inspired tracks, but just because of the way they're laid out on Spotify and it didn't get wrapped, like it just seems like this scattered bunch of different sounds. But I don't know. We're gonna hopefully be able to get that figured out at some point and have it all wrapped. And then obviously the Palm Reader EP came after that, which was very, you know, our kind of like 1920s kind of feel. But yeah, man, it's fun doing it that way.
It is. It's interesting to me, and I want to go into a little bit of your background too, to let people know about who World's First Cinema is. Is that you used to be with Neck Deep? I understand.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So you're coming from this like more pop punk, the emo scene, the Warped Tour scene, coming into this more cinematic. I would say electronic. I don't know if you would describe it that way.
Yeah, no, there's definitely like a good amount of electronic in there. But yeah, I started neck deep with the guys and did that for like 8 years or whatever, and I left the band at the end of our third album cycle to move into, you know, production and stuff. And it's funny that the last thing I ever intended to do was start another band. Like it was like I left that to not do that again. And World's First Cinema originally was going to be just a completely like sync, like cinematic thing, like purely for film and television. Like, you know, but anyone who works in that industry will tell you, like, if you package the product a little bit more like a band and put it on DSPs and all that kind of stuff, it's a little easier to make those roads. And But then we started writing music, and it was like we had a few songs. It was, oh fucking hell, this is a band, isn't it? Band. Like, this is absolutely a band, and it's a cool band, and it's different. And then there was no going back, and it was great. But I'm glad we made that kind of, I wouldn't even say pivot, because the sound didn't necessarily pivot, but just the way we were doing it. I think it was different too, because it was just a 2-piece. It didn't feel like doing a band again in the same sense. It wasn't like you said, it wasn't as much of a sort of like Warped Tour alt leaning band project. So I don't know. For me, it's always just like, does it make me happy? Does it feel creative? Does it feel fun? And it did. So yeah, it kind of ended up being a band again.
I mean, I would imagine, because the scene, obviously, from when you would start like a 4 or 5 piece pop punk band, and then now where it's more like a lot of people just are kind of in the studio or have access to a lot of different tools, and you don't really need to have like, oh, we got to find a guy to play bass, we got to find a second guitarist. It's like you can kind of just do it all yourself. Like, is the change from going to like a larger group to like just you and another person like much easier to make and to make this band, even though it's only 2 people?
It's infinitely harder in one way and infinitely easier in another. Like, one of the reasons I want to do the band thing again, it was like, it's easier in the sense that if you can do it all yourself, you don't need to rely on anybody. Nobody can let you down. If some drummer pisses off or some guitarist don't want to do it anymore, don't matter, because you don't need them anyway. So in that sense, it's easier because you're not reliant to anybody. But then it's also infinitely harder because you have to become a songwriter and a producer and a creative director and a video editor and a Photoshop expert. And you have to be able to do all of those things yourself. So it's a way harder road. But if you can do them all to a certain degree and then you don't need anybody, then it's easier because there's no slowing down. Like, you can do it at whatever pace you want to, kind of thing. But it's just such a different landscape. I think, it makes me feel old to even say it, because like, I think back and I'm like, wow, man, like, it was so different back then, like, I mean, obviously COVID was a big one, and like TikTok wasn't around, and like, social media has always been a big part of music scene, of course, but even in those like these last 4 or 5 years, it's just totally different how it works. Like, in terms of what you need to move forward, and what you need to operate as a band, and who you need and how you need them, and all those kinds of things. So I don't know. It's like, I wouldn't necessarily even say it's easier or harder. It's kind of both and neither, all at the same time. It's very ethereal. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I look at like the success of some bands, and I think that a lot of it ends up coming down to like the vocalist, and I think even now, like, there are a lot of bands that are reuniting, and it's like, we couldn't get everybody from the old band or the old lineup, but we got the singer, or like the main 1 or 2 people.
All you need.
And I'm like, okay.
No one else matters.
And like, listen.
Of course, you look at the pop songs, I was like, of course the singer is the most important one. You take the singer off of it, you could put 10 of them together, and you wouldn't just tell me which band's song it is. It's the same thing. It's great.
Listen, yes. I'm happy to say it. Yeah. I always leaned more towards the like emo and heavier stuff. And then like I had friends that were super into pop punk, and they'd be like, dude, check out this band. I'd be like, is this the same band? You already showed me this band. And it's like, no, it's a different band. I'm like, where? When? And no shade to that. I'm sure there's intricacies that I don't understand,
I don't think there is. I really don't. I don't think there's any intricacy to it whatsoever. As a guy who made an entire career being a part of it, it's the least intricate thing in the world. It's all the same sounds, all the same producers. The songwriting is important, and the vocalist. Those are the things that make them different. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's like, if you're doing it and you care about it and it makes you happy, that's all that really matters. Like, if it sounds like something else, who cares, man? Do you like it? Do you enjoy playing it? Hell yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it like you said, it's the songwriting, which like a good song is going to matter more than anything else. And I guess the singer is, sort of the vehicle of saying the words and saying the meaning behind the song. and then getting that to the audience who then connects with it. And that's always going to matter the most, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's what makes it special. It's not necessarily even the band or the songs themselves. It's what people take from them, you know. And there, I do think there is plenty of examples too where like instrumentally people have a flavor and a taste. Like, you know, there's certain bands that even if you didn't have the vocalists on it, like you can feel their unique perspective in, you know, what's going on with the track. But most of the time, not that. Most of the time it doesn't matter who did that or
Yeah.
it's
And that's what makes me feel like, you know, I'm seeing some bands that are like together, you know, again, or, you know, and they're not really recording, they're not making new music, but it's just like we're playing the old shit. Yeah. And it's like, okay, but I definitely feel a different vibe from like the drummer or the guitarist. And maybe that's just me as like a music listener or somebody who's like been listening to that for 20 years. It's like, it has a different feel to it than what I was used to 20 years ago seeing them. And like,
that's almost one of the curses of being a musician. You know, you can't always hear it, you know, like you can only hear it as a musician, you know, like you're always going to hear the difference in the guitar tone or the way the drummer plays or whatever. Like you can't turn it off because that's what you do and it's what you think about and it's what you live and breathe. So I don't know, but I think to like the average people or like music lovers who are music absorbers, but they don't, you know, make music or whatever. They just love to enjoy it. I don't think they really feel the difference.
I doubt it. You know, I'm at these shows and there's a lot of joy that people have. A lot of people have, it's their first time seeing the band at all or hearing these songs played live. So like in the end, who cares? You know, I have the privilege of having seen them 20 years ago. This isn't for me in the same way it might be for them. And they're not, you know, like, he hit the cymbal was different on that one. He didn't do the hi-hat that he normally does. Okay.
Who cares, bro? Like, it's not, if you care about that, you gotta fucking find something more important to care about. Like,
I wish I could.
They're thinking about what the song means to them and how special that chorus is because it reminds them of their friend and that thing they do, whatever. Like, that's the stuff that matters. Like, in my mind, anyway. But I'm also probably a terrible person to ask because I'm just not I'm not one of those. I'm not an instrument guy. I'm like a music guy. Like I'm not a shredder or a crazy drummer. And I have all the respect in the world for the people who like live and breathe their instrument. Like their instrument is what matters in the song and in the live and in this. That's great. Love that for you. I couldn't give a toss. I care about like the way the bigger picture feels. You know.
Yeah. And it does sound like World's First Cinema is like a bigger picture type of band. Like the music you're making doesn't feel like, you know, I go into it and I'm like, I feel like there's a lot built up into this, and it's not just like, you know, the five pieces of it, two guitars, drums, bass. It's like, no, I want to add all this scene to it. I want to add atmosphere. I want to add like I want to hit like these vocals and these lyrics like with more than just like the drums here go into a halftime feel or something like that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's definitely like the goal. Like the whole thing of it is it's supposed to be. It just doesn't excite me anymore. You know, that thing, and I love it for what it was and what I did, and it's great. But like when it comes to making music for me, like I want it all to feel weird. Like I need the sound to be something else. You know, like just taste evolves or you get bored or you move on, whatever. So like with every Words for Cinema song, there is no formula because there's no band. There's no like, right, so this is the verse, this is the chorus, and you know, this is halftime. Like you said, it's every song starts from like zero. You know, we've got songs that are just piano and cello, and we've got songs that are guitar-y and riffy and some more electronic. It's just trying to create a cool kind of cinematic little experience in a song or something. It's just, you know, that's kind of the fun little mission statement of it all.
Yeah. Now, it also sounds to me, you know, I'm putting myself in the frame of listening to it, and like I said, I mentioned Panic at the Disco, which feels very like cinematic and kind of old timey, like you mentioned, like the 1920s, all that. And I'm wondering, like, I was listening to it while walking outside, the sun's shining and all this, and I'm like, feels like darker music and like more of like a venue, and the lights are out and there's like some, you're in the world, and I'm like, how is this going to translate to like a summertime parking lot Warped Tour set?
Well, we're gonna find out, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's very theatrical. I mean, we do have songs that are a bit more uplifting, but generally it's quite brooding and dark and cinematic. And like you said, it's very sort of like theater-esque performances, like dark rooms, quite intense light shows and all that kind of stuff, like outdoor festival parking lot energy is gonna be kind of funky, but it'll be what it'll be, and if people enjoy it, that's
Yeah.
great.
I mean, you can definitely. There was a band called Inner Party System that played Warped Tour way back in the day, and they make almost like club music. It's like
Right.
not the Warped Tour type of thing at all, but it obviously has like a drummer and people playing keyboards and guitar, and the vocalist is like running around the stage still doing the same thing you would anticipate to see a band. But I'm watching it in the sunlight, and I'm like, this isn't it. Like, this isn't supposed to match.
Yeah.
But I still was like, I'm in. Whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, some things aren't, destined for that, and like that, the other side of the coin is there's other bands that are perfect for that, and maybe not as suited for the darker stuff. But it's such a legendary festival and stuff, and like at the end of the day, you're there to play for fans and make fans. So it's like, yeah, it's maybe not the ideal, it's not the dream sort of setup of how we would share our music, but it's still our music and it's still what we do and we love, and it'll be so fun to do it either way.
Yeah. I mean, does it feel like a little bit of like, that old pop punk feeling of just like, I gotta be on that stage, I gotta do it for Warped Tour?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think there's definitely that for a lot of bands right now that are doing it. This kind of like, do you know what it almost feels like? It's like this funny metaphor of like, when like a guy gets married and he never goes out anymore, and he's like older, and then like once every 5 years, like him and his friends like go to Vegas or something. I feel like it's almost like that. It's like all these bands are like trying to like relive their Warped Tour youth again, and everyone's so excited about it. It's like, oh my god, we're going back! Like we're going back to school. This is gonna be great. Yeah, I honestly think like everybody going, it's like in the bands, it's everyone's so excited, I think, about the sort of community aspect of what it meant to the bands, and the countless days we were all there doing it. Like, or I mean, I won't speak for anyone. For me, that's like, yeah, the show's gonna be great. I'm excited about the shows. Of course, I love playing music and I'm excited to play, but it's more this like, oh my god, like Warped, man, those were some of the best years of my life. Those are some of the most fun I've ever had doing anything. Like, to go back even for a day is gonna be like so cool.
Yeah.
Like, and hope that it feels the same,
I like that you mentioned that, because I've been looking at a lot of the bands, and I know there's been a little bit of feedback of like, I don't know who half these bands are. And for me, I'm like, well, I'm trying to discover. And so like when new bands are like shown to me, it's like, yo, you should check out this band. Kevin Lyman knows who this band is, so it must be like a good reason to go check them out. But I didn't think of it like, and I don't know a lot of the bands either, but when I saw your band, I was like, oh, okay, so he was already in like the Warped Tour scene back in the day. So maybe there's a lot of these like newer quote unquote bands who are really just like revisiting.
Yeah, maybe there is actually. I don't know. I mean, I know obviously like you said, there is a lot of sort of newer bands, and that's some people being like, I don't know who this is. And even we got some of that, our post announcement going, people like, who the hell's that? And it's like, I get it, you don't know who we are, but it's like, but I was there. Like, no, I'm not completely out of the. I hope, but
you have credentials. You can show your past and be like, I got to get into the Warped Tour today, man.
But at the end of the day, it's like, who cares, man? Like, if you're there and you bought a ticket and you're looking at the timetable and there's someone you don't know, you don't want to watch, don't watch them. Like, maybe you watch them and you make a new favorite band. I don't know.
That was the whole thing. Like, Warped Tour was, it was not like I'm deciding whether I'm going to go to the Warped Tour or not. It's like, no, I'm going to Warped Tour. Whoever is there is just whoever is there. And now I get to walk in and just be like, cool. I'll walk by a stage and go, oh, let me stop and check that out for a second. And maybe you like him. You're like, you know what? That's cool. And then you move on and you forget that the band never existed. But that was the whole reason for it. And I think that there's a lot of people just like, I'm brand new to this. I don't understand. And I'm seeing all these like massive festivals and Warped Tour still in its own way. Like it feels massive, I think, because it's doing like 3 weekends versus a national run, but it still feels like it's trying to keep that like kind of small tour, small like punk ethos vibe to it versus like, we're when we were young part 2, or we're,
I think it's just like you said, like when we were young exists, and they've kind of, they've stepped in and taken over that space, and they're giving the people what they want, and that's great. So I think it was this idea of like trying to do something that still feels unique. Because like you said, like discovering new stuff at Warp was like a big part of it. Like you say, you're just wandering around. Maybe you just start listening to something out the side of your ear, and you're like, what's this? And you go and check it out. But it's been a long time. Times have changed. People aren't happy. I don't know. It's
the world. Listen, and that's why like I personally am like trying. I'm old too, so I'm like, fuck these kids. But I'm also like, listen, there's a lot of new music. There's a lot of good bands. There's a lot of people that are making good stuff, and there's a lot of things that you might have missed too. So go back, go experience, go explore. I guess like people really only are listening to like singles now. Like there's like some younger kids who are like, I only heard like a few songs. It's like they have a record, they have an album. Go listen to that.
Yeah, that seems to be the big kind of play now. A little bit less in the alternative space, but like even still, they see a lot of it in that. That is kind of how it is now. But people forget too, like a lot of the bands that they would now want to see immediately on the bill at one point was that new band on the bill that they didn't know and was like, who's this band? It's like, there might be a new band to you now, but like, who knows? In a few years, they might be your favorite band,
Yeah. The newness of them is not representative of how good they are, how good the music is, how much you might enjoy seeing their set. I've seen a bunch of bands that like, I've never really listened to this band. I'll watch their show and was completely blown away. And now I'm like, cool, I'm going to run home and listen to everything on the drive home and all that. Like I'm into the band now because I saw it live.
That's the good thing, that's the funnest part when you like find something new and then you get to like go deep dive on it all and discover it. And, I think a lot of those kids who are coming or have bought tickets, even the ones who maybe don't think they're super happy about it right now, I think in the long run, they'll appreciate it and they'll find somebody they really like.
I mean,
or maybe they won't. I don't know.
This is going to be coming out after DC, so I'm hoping that you can report back and say, yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened. That the first one. It's and like
they hate it.
They hate it. Listen, DC sold out. Like you can't buy tickets to it. So if you're there, you might as well go and check out new bands. You might as well see what there is to be seen.
Like you bought a ticket. What else are you going to do? Sit around eating a hot dog waiting for the I mean, that does sound pretty good to be fair. But,
sure.
I don't know. Maybe I don't even know. Maybe I don't even know how it works with the like. It's a new vibe,
I know. I go to so many like these festivals, and I'm like, okay, this costs way too much money for people just to be like chilling at this corner, like not doing anything. And I'm like, you paid. This is a personal thing. I'm like, you paid so much money to be here, and you're just gonna sit and like pout in a corner. Like, I don't know if that's what you're spending all the money on, but I would be like seeing bands running between stages like nonstop if I was there.
Totally. I mean, I think that plays into like I was saying, like. And it's not even like complaining that things are different. Like things always change. When we were that age, they had changed from when they were that age. Like it's not a problem, but it is also like I do think it's part of that thing of like just the way the newer gen of the scene and the kids consume music and experience it and buy tickets and the way they go with it. I think it's just different. Like our sort of era was that. It was all about the hustle and just running around and finding new things and being excited. And they with like the new social media content trends and like how easy it is to consume stuff and how quickly you get new things and how frequently bands have to release new music, there's a little less urgency, I think. So I think that probably plays into it. They can go to the festival and just kind of chill out and not worry about it because there's going to be something else in about 30 seconds that's going to have a new song or a new band or a new video or a new something. So I don't know. It always felt like there was longer gaps in between.
Yeah.
But
maybe life speeds up too fast when you get older.
Who knows? Maybe.
So your record that everyone is going to listen to from beginning to end after they discover you at Warped Tour, Something of Wonder. It's out July 11th. Do you want to tell us a little bit about now that you have like a full package deal coming out, not just singles on it?
So I mean, the band's been around like 3-4 years now, and we've done the 3 EPs and the deluxe. So I think we were very much due a full length, and this band has always had that kind of vibe where we were obviously going to work in albums. And yeah, I think the main goal, because it was our debut album, it's like there's not really anything to like, we're starting. It's a debut album. There's nothing to compare it to. The main goal was just to like try and encapsulate all the things that we like to do, because obviously, like we would have talked about, the band it's a little different in the sense that it's not just kind of like one genre or one sound, like we have full on like orchestral piano ballads, and then we have like full on kind of dark riffy songs. We have some electronic stuff. Our band isn't like one genre per se. It's more this overarching idea of trying to be cinematic and trying to write every song as its own little like movie scene. And what would that sound like? So, the main goal of the album is just try and hit all of those things. We wanted to have some of the softer stuff we do, some of the darker stuff we do, some of the more electronic stuff we do, but make them all feel cohesive and tell a story and weave together. And I think the main goal was to be able to go, if you've never heard of us up to this point, because we're fairly new, you can just listen to the album, and by the end of it, you'll get it. Like, that was just like the main idea, I think. And I don't know, I'd like to think that we did it. I feel like we've done it in the sense that like I feel like we covered all the bases of what we do, and I'm proud of the songs. And I'm hoping it's going to be the kind of first sort of stepping stone into really getting World's First Cinema into the kind of general population of stuff that people listen to and like.
Into the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
like it, so fuck it.
Yeah. The single, sorry, I have to read this off here because I want to make sure, because this is coming out on dates the dates are going to be passed by the time this comes out. So people have already heard End of My Rope and Broken. Broken is not out yet. I haven't listened to it yet.
This Friday. Well, when this is out, it'll have been many Fridays past.
People have it's already part of the conversation that people are having.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
What is I guess tell me about Broken, because I haven't heard it yet, so I don't know anything about it.
Broken's a cool one. So obviously we've been rolling out a few singles from the album campaign, and Broken's going to be the last one until the album comes out. It's like, in many ways, it's kind of like the title track of the record. I mean, there isn't a title track. Literally, there isn't a song on the record called Something of Wonder, which is the name of the album, but there is a lyric in Broken that says Something of Wonder. So in that sense, it's the title track. It's definitely, I think, one of the most sort of like boundary pushing songs we've done. It's much more sort of like pop electronic sounding than we've done before. It's very WFC in the sense that it's got some big pianos and strings and this big emotional hook. But then it's got these like very like electronic-esque drops. I think at the time it was one of the later songs we did for the record, and we'd had like a bunch of iterations of it. Like, man, when it started, it was like a Mumford & Sons type thing. It was like this very like folky, like 4 to the floor on 1 and 3 like thing, and then we just kept trying to redo it, and we were like, we love this song, like the songwriting is there, but it's not the right production. The sound isn't right. And then there was a moment where it sounded almost like dancey or something, and that wasn't right. And then the last minute I just kind of like pulled the rug out and started again and went down this path. And I just so happened to that week I was listening to Labyrinth a lot. And I think that anyone who listens to Labyrinth would probably, know that because I don't know. I think when you listen to it, you can hear the influence, or at least I can. But maybe that's because it was from my head, so I don't know. But yeah, it's a cool song, man. It's a different one for us, but I'm really proud of it. I think it's a cool one to do as the last one before the album. I think it shows where we could go in the future and kind of like pushes the boundary on the sound of what we've done a little bit. And then obviously the other big thing about it is that it has a feature, which is the first time we've ever done a feature. So um, I'm really excited about that. We have the feature is this rapper called Cliffe.
Mhm.
If you haven't listened to, check him out. He's sick. He does like rock rap, but like in a cool way, like not in that way. I'm gonna swim right past that. Not, it's not rap rock, but I guess it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. His music's sick. I'm just a big fan of his. He is so cool, and I love his tunes. And I was on it pretty early. Like, there wasn't like a ton of listeners or anything, and I'd been following him for a while and just really loved his music. And when we were doing the track, I remember I was driving home from the studio one day, listening to what I'd been working on, and like, I was like, oh my God, I just had this vision. Like, what if we just got rid of the verses and just had like a sick rap, like a rapper do something on it? Like, that could be really cool. Like, I was thinking of those like old, like early mid 2000s tracks, like the Haley Bieber, the Haley Williams, the B.O.B. one,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Eminem, and all those kinds of tracks. Like, that was such a thing for a while. Those like emotional pop tracks that had like a rap feature.
Yeah.
Such a little time capsule idea. And I remember calling John. I was like, dude, I know the perfect guy. I was like, I don't know if we'll get him, but I'll try. And so I like DM'd him, and I was just like, dude, big fan of your music. Got this song. Like, I would love to hear you rap on it. Like, do you want to talk about it? And he was like, well, send me the song and I'll check it out. And he checked it out and he did his part and he sent it, and it was perfect. And it was so cool. And yeah, it all came together. We're like super stoked on it.
I love the idea that you can just like, this goes back a little bit to like the, 5-piece band in a room versus like just, working in the studio and being like, yeah, I sent it to somebody and they sent me back something and then that was it. It's like, oh, that works. That's really like a good way of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, super inspiring. You can just get like fresh ideas and things that you could have never done without someone else. And yeah, at the end of the day, that's all we're trying to do. We're trying to do things that like excite us, or at least I am. Like, I just want it to sound cool, man. I just want to like listen to it and be like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it was such a random, weird wave of inspiration to like try and have him on it. But I think John thought I was a little bit mental at first. But then, it all came together, and now we love it and we're stoked on it. And yeah.
I know you said boundary pushing for Worlds for Cinema with that song, but what I noticed, I mean, I don't know if there is a boundary. It sounds like your music is kind of I would say it has a genre, but I couldn't put into words exactly what that genre is.
Right. No, totally.
So to me, like having, when you describe it as like that early 2010s, like emotional pop with hip hop verses, I'm like, oh yeah, that does make sense for like what I was already listening to you do. It's like, yeah, you can kind of break those boundaries down anytime.
Yeah. No, yeah, I guess that's a good point. Like, I guess I only think boundary in the sense that we definitely have a wide net of how things sound, but if that broken is probably on the widest part of that. Like, in terms of the production, it's, I don't think it's like pushing the boundary for us in the sense that it's like a total red herring on anything we've ever done, but it's definitely got like a slightly different edge than we've done before.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's like a big kind of electronic pop ballad. I don't. It's a hard one to explain. Like most of the time we do like, it has a chorus, like it has a hook, but the choruses are more like an instrumental drop, with this weird choir going on, and weird. It's super weird, dude, but it's
Weird is good. Like
yeah,
I think that a lot of bands kind of stick to. I know this is like your debut, right? But obviously, you've been a musician for a while. You've been
right.
in part of this and a producer for a while. So it's not like this is the first thing you've created. I know a lot of people say like you have your entire life to work towards your debut, and then you only have 2 years to write the second album or something like that. So all the work that goes into that debut is all the things that you brought from before. But I think that kind
Right.
of takes out the fact that like, well, you may have written albums before. So like,
Totally.
I created this record and I put all of this like childhood angst and wanting to be in a band and wanting to make this music and see how it hit people and all that. But now like when you create this new record, like, are you thinking about, all of that stuff that's come from your past to put into it? Are you thinking about who this is for? Are you thinking about, is the audience you and John? Is the audience like,
Wow, that's a really good question. Yeah, no, that's actually a really good question because it really is different now. Like in the past, back in those days and in my old bands and stuff, it was about trying to write something that could, I had to love it, but it was more about like wanting to be in a band and wanting to be on the stage and like wanting people to like it and wanting it to be big. But like in getting to do a lot of those things and being really lucky and blessed in what I've got to do, it's almost like scratch that itch. Like that isn't the motivation anymore. Like that doesn't really bother me or interest me in the slightest. Like if I could just sit in the shadows and never talk to anyone ever again, I'd be quite happy with that. It's like for me now, it's about the sound. Like once I moved fully into production and like dedicated, like I was a life dedicated band guy, and now I'm like a life dedicated producer.
mm,
In sense, like the only thing that matters to me now is like trying to create the sound of something cool and interesting. So I think for me, yeah, the audience is definitely just like it's just me or me and John, I should say. Like but and even that, he I'm sure he'd have his own perspective on it, but it's like you've got to love it, more than anything, and especially if you're doing something a little out of center. And I think there is a huge kind of like vast suction out there of people who, in my perspective, you can feel in their music they're doing it for that reason, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not judging that. If that makes you happy, that's great. But I can see it and feel that like the purpose of that song is to try and be viral.
yeah.
Like you don't. This song exists because you want it to blow up on TikTok so you can be big. And that's fine. If that's your dream, I love that for you. Go chase it. But I couldn't give two shits about that. Truly. Like if nobody fucking listens to Something of Wonder, don't really care. Like I'm fine with that. Dream World, they'll love it, and that's great.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. But yeah, just the exciting part for me now is like trying to create something that sounds cool and sounds different and just feels like something new and special and just get that feeling. Anyone who's been in a band knows that feeling when you've got a new song and you listen to it and you're like, oh my God, like this is cool. Like I love this, proud of it, and you're excited by it. And like that's the real victory, I think, for me now. Just like hearing it and feeling like it sounds like something I'm proud of, or that people would stop and go like, whoa, okay, what's this? Like, yeah, I think that also just comes from like learning about more of production and having more respect for different genres. And like, it's such a cliche that so many people say, but like I do truly listen to like every genre. I really do. Like I just love music. So like it doesn't matter what genre it is to me. It's like, is this song that I'm hearing like pushing something? Like, can I feel something exciting and special and unique in it? So that's kind of the motivation for sure. Like playing it on big stages and stuff is like great, but I'm way more focused right now in my life on how it sounds.
Mhm.
If you're listening to it on AirPods from Spotify, I want that to be the moment that it connects.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's
who
good from a
knows?
producer here because I moved into Tidal because I'm like, dude, Spotify is just not sounding good to me anymore. And I don't know what it is, but This feels like a title or a better high resolution listening experience.
Definitely. That would be the goal. It's very dynamic. I mean, we do all of our like orchestral versions of the songs too, which still not many people know about, which is fine, and we're gonna learn more as the band grows. But for every song we do a completely like symphonic orchestral version of the song, that we weave into the live show as well. Things like Tidal, I mean, they're built for that kind of stuff. And I get it, Spotify's for listening to music, it's for pop consumption of music, and that makes sense. It's different, different strokes, I guess.
Sure. I mean, it's convenience of art to me, just as like, okay, that's frustrating. Like, I don't, the more that we've gotten away from like, oh, I have a restricted amount of music that I can put onto an iPod. I am now like presented with unlimited amounts of music at any time, anywhere that I am, and I can listen to anything. And then I realize like this pure like volume of music is now sounding like shit to me versus like I'd rather have less and it sound great and it be something that I really care about. And we've just kind of like gone back to the beginning of like, give me 1,000 songs, but I want them to sound pristine to listen to.
Totally. I mean, we have New Music Friday now. Every Friday, there's a million new songs, and so much of it is amazing too. It's like, if everything's amazing, then nothing is at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's tricky, man. I feel like not even that long ago, you used to wait so long for a band to put out an album, and it came out and you just listened to it nonstop for months, and now it's just like new single every week.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different way of doing it. And I think for World's First Cinema, we just don't have that motivation to try and play by that sort of set of rules. And there is nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And I support anyone who's doing it. It's just, we're making weird cinematic music. It's not going to work in that world. Like, we're just going to make tunes we think are cool, and if you like it, great, and if not, that's fine.
Yeah. My theory is everything has to exist, because there's going to be an audience who says, I don't want, the pop music. I want to listen to something that's made by musicians that know how to play their instruments, and I want it to be weird, and I don't want it to sound like what is popular on the radio. But the pop radio has to exist in order to guide that person and say, that's not for me, something else is. Everything has to exist, and because something else exists, World's First Cinema can find its own place within the conversation.
Yeah, well, let's hope so, or not, or we won't fit anywhere ever, and we're destined to be nomads in this sort of vast wasteland of nothingness.
Yeah. Listen, it's the music for that vast wasteland of nothingness to listen to. Like,
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. I that's how I feel about it. So, like we said, man, it kind of, in a nice way, it just doesn't really matter to me. Like, I love music and I love film, and this is my fun project I do with my mate, and it's trying to blend those two worlds together. And what we put out is what we put out and what it is, and whatever that does is fine with me.
Yeah, I see it resonating, because that's why I'm trying to tell people about you and trying to get the word out too. So yeah. That's why I'm here.
Snowball going now.
Exactly. Well, yeah. So this will be coming out right before the record is out, July 11th. Something of Wonder, and all the singles have already been out. So people have already been listening to them. Is there anything else we should hit before we wrap up the interview? Do my notes and see if there's anything.
The album is the big thing. We're doing a headline like album release show on August 7th, so a couple of weeks, right after Warped Tour. Special one-off headline in LA just to celebrate the album being out. So yeah, come check it out if you want to see it in a intimate room.
Yeah. In like a big seated theater show.
Big is say big. I wouldn't say big.
I know. But I looked at the album, the one EP cover you have, and I was like, oh yeah, that looks like the room I'd want to be in listening to this.
Oh yeah, so that was a photo still from behind the scenes of a music video we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was at this theater in downtown LA. It's called the LA Theater. It's like completely like crazy, historic, like protected building from like freaking 20s. It's absolutely insane. It's like the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. I think they shot like part of the Titanic in there or something. It's like insane.
Wow.
And we threw crazy luck and just serendipity was able to shoot our music video there thanks to the hard work of the producers of the video, Corner Shop, Sargon, and Katie and Luigi, who shot, directed, produced the music video. And yeah, they put that whole thing together for us, and it was just crazy. So yeah, that's what that was.
Well, look at that image while you're, thinking about this music. And then you said August 7th is the show? Or
yeah, I'm gonna check that right now, just because I'll look like an idiot if I got it wrong.
And I'm only asking because I'm going to be in LA. I think the weekend after, and I'm like, am I coming in early? Am I flying in sooner?
Yeah, August 7th, the Moroccan Lounge in LA, headline show. Tickets, well, they're not on sale right this second, but they will be by the time this comes out. Hey man, hopefully they're sold out by the time this comes out. With any,
you know what? I wish you could have gotten them. I wish you guys were here listening to the conversation right now. Now you can't even get them. That sucks. Is what we're saying a month and a half early to the date.
Get it into the universe.
Yeah. And by this, has Long Beach already happened? I guess no one can buy tickets for that, but buy tickets to Orlando Warped Tour to see you if they haven't already seen you at Warped Tour.
Will still be in the mix because that's obviously not till November. So yeah.
So perfect. They can still see it Warped Tour in November. Well, Phil, this has been wonderful. I've been looking forward to this for a minute after listening to some of your music. So I'm stoked for you, and I am going to tell everybody about the band if it kills me, because that's why I'll start a podcast and just get to listen to new music and be like, no, listen to me. I'm telling everybody about your band. And
there you go. Thank you, man. And hopefully we see you at a show. I'll see you at Warped or something.
Yeah, no, I'll figure it out if, I don't know. I'm trying to plan what to do in LA for that weekend anyway. So I'm like, well, whatever, just go in a week early and hang out and then fly out after. I'm seeing 30 Seconds to Mars 20-year show that following weekend, I think. Is
that the Forum?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So cool.
I hope so. I haven't really told a lot of people about it because Jared Leto is using a lot of AI art for it. And I'm like, come on, man.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I've seen a bunch of like flyers around town and like billboards and stuff.
Yeah.
The ones I saw, I didn't notice. I feel like I usually have a pretty good eye for that, but they were just like photos of people.
Yeah. I think that there's some of those, but a lot of what he's been posting on Instagram has been like AI video. And I'm like, bro, please. I'm literally flying to LA to see this show, and you're making me feel really bad about it. Because I don't you're Jared Leto from Morbius. Just do a fucking shoot. Just go get a camera operator and just shoot something. I don't know.
Seems like you could do that. I'm not too sure they're too worried about budgets.
He has nothing but access. You've been in you're an Academy Award nominee, and you're like, oh, I hit a button and now it looks like we're back in 2005. It's like, no, you're in,
Yeah, that's not great.
I hate it.
Great. Seems like a bit of an oversight.
Yeah. So I keep hesitating to tell people that I'm flying in for it.
Well, I won't judge you for it.
Thank you.
He can't AI himself on the show, so that's what really counts.
I hope he doesn't.
They have holograms and shit now, right? So I guess you could in theory, but
in theory he could do whatever.
We'll find out on the night.
I'll be in touch and be like, fuck.
Yeah.
Sucked. Yeah, Phil, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thanks for being on. Excited for the album. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing it. Not in my position now, I haven't heard it yet, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I'll send it to you.
Hell yeah.
Have it. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.